Second, we're going to talk about Uraraka. Side note here. I joined the My Hero fandom during the middle of season two. Like I started watching when I think Uraraka was fighting Bakugo, and I was almost trying to speed run the series to get to this point because I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be a great fight." So I was stunned when I saw that Lil Ravity got so much hate. I was legit surprised. Like from the jump, she's always proven herself to be capable, and that's more than a lot of female characters get in shonen anime. Because I know the politics of anime, especially the shonen anime, they push female characters to the side because shonen is marketed to young boys. So young boys have more characters to project themselves onto. So you don't want the male characters you're trying to sell the audience to be outshined by the female characters. It sucks. It really does because we lose out on so many well written women characters for the male characters to shine. It sucks. But Horikoshi loves Uraraka. Like every chance he gets, he pushes her forward. She's definitely had a nice little arc, and you can tell he's fine because he created Toga specifically to foil Uraraka. Like he made a whole antagonistic threat just for this girl, and I cannot wait to see how that works out. So, just so you know, anything I say about Uraraka is coming from a place of love, not criticizing her because she's a girl in an anime. I love her. So I don't want to hear any shit in the YouTube comments, all right? Don't give me that. So here is my issue with Uraraka. I believe she's using her quirk inefficiently. I'm going to take a break for you to pause this, or you just close the tab and no longer listen to me. I believe Uraraka is using her quirk inefficiently. Now, after losing to Bakugo in the sports festival, she learns hand to hand combat. Excellent. Her quirk is one of two quirks where you do something and then something happens. Not like a proactive quirk like Todoroki's. The quirks in My Hero are essentially three kind of different quirks. There's the number one, the most common quirk where you just do the thing. Bakugo, you do the explosions. Todoroki, you do the fire. Kirishima, you do the hardened thing. The second is your part animal, like Mirako, you're part bunny. You get all the benefits that come with that. Hawks, you are part hawk, and you have all the benefits that come with that. Fierce Wings is an amazing quirk, and the control over each of those wings and feathers, fantastic. Love the quirk. Didn't like Hawks initially, but he won me over. Also, side note, have you seen Hawks' original design? Like he was just a big chicken. It was the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Like for a show in anime that has so many fantastically drawn characters, seeing Hawks' original design of just being this tall chicken, it was just so jarring to see how he went from that to what he has now. Because the fan art on Hawks now is just nuts. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so the third quirk is you do a thing and then something happens. For example, Uraraka touches something and then the thing she touches doesn't have gravity. Similar to Aizawa, you stare at someone and then they lose their quirk. Now, where Aizawa used his quirk very efficiently is that he learned just because you take away someone's quirk doesn't mean you're going to beat them in a fight. Therefore, he decided, I'm going to bring you down to my level, then I'm going to fuck you up. And that, excellent. Now, where I think Uraraka, the next step in her development should be, I think she should learn weapon fighting and don some armor, and she should just be a upfront kind of brawler. Now, imagine Uraraka with a giant hammer swinging it at her enemy, and she turns the gravity on at the right time to cause maximum damage and send them flying through a couple of buildings. I think that's the next thing she should do. Having really heavy armor on her, strapped to her, but it's also weightless, I also think that's excellent. She's essentially just going to be a tank. It's too good to not have. I mean, Look at Lemillion. His quirk was a nightmare to use and looked at as practically useless, and now he's a powerhouse. Imagine Uraraka swinging a hammer or a sword or donning some armor. I mean, just because gravity's off doesn't mean stuff just floats. It's kind of there. So if she's strapped on armor, the armor's basically weightless. The hammer she's carrying is basically weightless. I think that her turning gravity on and off within a second's notice and timing it perfectly to do an attack is not at all out of the realm of possibility of what she can do. Again, Lemillion kicked a man through Ares' face. The villain was holding the child, and he managed to phase his leg through the girl, turn it on at the right time to kick the guy. He puts his face, just his face, through walls. I think Uraraka can learn from how he decided to use his quirk. But certainly, I do think her quirk needs to be buffed just a tiny bit. Just a bit. Uraraka's buff could be changing to what degree gravity affects a person. She could make Bakugo, Ida lighter, not just turn off gravity for them, but just affect them just enough to where, like, I don't know, half gravity affects them. And they can be lighter, they can move faster, they can be more agile. She could be an excellent support hero. But again, I like where her arc is going in the show. I like in the manga where her arc is going. She's more of a person that's concerned with the general well-being of hero society as a whole. All the main characters, minus Ida, like Bakugo and Todoroki and Midoriya and All Might, they already have a vested interest in the war to come. But outside of Toga, Uraraka doesn't have that. So to see her caring about hero society and who helps the heroes when the heroes are hurting, because mind you, no hero was prepared for the mass destruction and death that they saw during the war arc. Not one of them was. And so many heroes just turned and left. So to see her worried about that means I do believe there's better for her on the horizon, and I do think she should be a bit more powerful. Having the conversation of how powerful Uraraka should be is kind of like a married fight. Like, a marriage fight is a fight that you and your partner agree on the same thing, but you're fighting anyway. Like, how powerful exactly should she be is where we all differ. Because some people think she should be number one. She can control gravity. I think she should be more like top 5, top 8 at minimum. Because no matter what Uraraka can do, honestly, do you see anybody in 1A beating Deku or Todoroki? And to that degree, if you're going for a war of attrition, do you really think Yaoyorozu is losing that? And I love Ashido. I really think she shouldn't be pushed to the side as much as she does. Like, come on now. She has a skin impervious to acid and can shoot acid. Like, who's fucking with that? Like, Kirishima can get as hard as he wants to. Don't care. Your skin won't be on your body. Whatever. That's all I just want to say. I believe Uraraka should be more powerful, and I think that she's using her quirk inefficiently. That's all. I love her. I think she's set up for greatness. Don't be no shit in my comments. But enough about the UA education system now that I'm here. Because I've seen a lot of slander about the UA education system, and I don't think y'all get it. Too many people say the UA system is terrible because they don't teach kids how to fight. They leave that up to the kids themselves. Like, Uraraka wasn't taught how to fight. She had to go see Gunhead on her own to learn how to fight. Deku didn't know how to use his quirk until he met with Gran Torino. And to that I say the UA education system is working exactly how it's supposed to. Let that one sit for a hot second. So the 4 of you that are left that didn't click away by this point, the UA education system, the entirety of the first year is about constantly using and improving your quirk. If you look at it strictly from a quirk standpoint, all the characters are different. If you look at Kirishima, who could harden for only a couple minutes at a time at maximum, to looking at his Red Riot Unbreakable by the end of the year, 2 separate guys. Ashido, who could just kind of throw acid whenever she got ready to, now she can cover her whole body in it. Now she can determine the particular acidity of her acid, top tier. She's completely different now. Yaoyorozu was always smart about her quirk and how to use it. Now she's on a whole different plane of knowing exactly the right thing she needs to do so she doesn't use up too much of her stamina and her lipids to making her quirk. Essentially, what I'm saying is all the kids at UA need to go through rigorous training with their quirk before you can teach them how to fight. It's like teaching someone how to fight who's not in shape. Is it possible? Yes. Is it the most efficient way to do things? Probably not. Teaching these kids how to use their quirk to its maximum effectiveness and then teaching them how to fight in their second and third years while putting them next to the side of pros, putting them with pros on work studies and internships so they can figure out how exactly to apply their quirk in a hero setting. Should there be a disaster? Should you have to go chase a villain down? Should you have to do recon or things like that to figure out where exactly you need to be? That is how the UA education system works. So for people going, they need to teach these kids how to fight. You're not supposed to learn how to fight yet. You're just getting out of middle school. Give it a second.